guys? Welcome back to another episode of 3PN. I believe this is episode 5 already.
Is it five? I thought it was 4.
I think it's 5. I'm pretty sure it's 5. I've already put out 3. I think I still got 4s in the chamber. I got to edit that, get it out. But this is number 5. They're stacking up quick.
Yeah.
But we are back again. Shane's glad to see you again. I know this is probably somewhat of a short one. There's not much we have on the docket for today, but we still plan on having Kenny and Raider back here and there. We're kind of just playing it by ear as we go. Whoever's not busy during the week,
We're actually planning on having Raider. You can't say back, but on.
Well, yeah. Planning on having him on. We'll see how that goes. But anyway, how you been? I know it's been, a week since... has it been 2 weeks since we recorded last now?
Yeah. I don't know why we couldn't record last weekend. Oh, I had a family thing.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yep. But yeah, it's been pretty good. Still trying to get ready to go to my next assignment, so, we'll probably get into that later, but
yeah,
it's been stressful.
Yeah, I hear you. We weren't even supposed to be able to record this weekend. I don't know if you remember that. I was supposed to be in Kentucky at a bachelor party. So we'll get into that, how my week's been going.
Oh boy. I vaguely remember you saying something about a wedding, but I actually don't really remember, so yeah.
Yeah, they were my soon-to-be brother-in-law was having his bachelor party in Kentucky at the Kentucky Derby. Actually, they're going to the casino. There's a resort there. Just going to go golfing, and but yeah, some unfortunate circumstances arose on my end, and yeah, it was shitty. We'll get in that in a minute, but as per usual, as we usually start, just what you've been playing, what you've been watching, anything exciting, anything new.
So, my smooth brain, first off, we'll go with what I've been watching. My smooth brain finally figured out how to get Amazon working on my Xbox. So, I am now all caught up on The Boys, which is, I knew it was a good show because I've seen clips and heard people talking about it, but now I know it's a good show because I synced it.
Yeah, it is awesome. We'll talk about that today, too.
I also caught up on Invincible, which is another really good, I don't know if you want to say more realistic superhero show where the people with powers aren't, perfect.
I've never seen that. That's animated, right?
Yeah, it's real good though. It's got early 2000s style, late 90s, early 2000s style animation. So back when American animation was actually good.
Yeah, right.
What else was it that I watched? There was something else. Oh, the Fallout series. I watched that too.
Oh, so good. Honestly, we've been so busy with everything going on, we haven't had a chance to finish it. I'm 4 or 5 episodes in.
Yeah, it's just it's got this really weird dry humor to it that I vibe with. One of my favorite movies that I will laugh endlessly at is The Dude, and most people just watch it how is this funny? But it's because it's like a dry but real natural humor. Yeah. And they have a lot of that going on in Fallout as well, especially with the main character being so naive from living in the vault for her whole life. So I found it endlessly entertaining.
I loved it.
And I guess I guess as far as games, I've been getting in on some For Honor, which I now realize is apparently a dead game because it came out almost 10 years ago. But I've been having fun with it. It's about the only PvP game that I can go in and most of the time kill more people than kill me. So, probably gonna stick with that for a while. And then I still been hitting up what is Dragon's Dogma 2, but actually I feel like I haven't really hit that for a while, so we'll see. I got to a point in the game, I was doing the Sphinx quests, and one of the last quests in the first set is you gotta go find where you saw, you gotta go to where you found the first Seeker Stone. And I'm this is the dumbest quest ever. And your time, too. You only have so many in-game days to find this location from, I don't know, 20 hours of gameplay ago. So I'm like, this is dumb. And you can't get the good ending of that quest without finding it.
Jesus.
So, yeah, it's pretty lame.
Yeah, sounds like it. See, those kind of quests that they throw into those RPG games, I could do without always.
Yeah, I mean, so much of Dragon's Dogma 2 is amazing. Like, they took everything that was good in the first one and made it better, and then the things that they changed were good changes. And overall, as a single-player RPG, it's one of the best ones that I've played in many, many, many years. But it's little things like that, like a quest like that, where I know because I cheat and I look things up when I play games. But I know there's really good loot at the end of that quest. Like real good items and things that will help you out for the rest of the game. And I'm basically locked out of it now because I don't remember where I was at 20 hours ago in this game that I've been zipping all over the map for.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know how you expect you to remember that.
Yeah.
It's a good game, though. It's just frustrating. It's typical RPG. That's why I tend not to get into big RPGs too much just because of, like, shit like that. You know what I mean? The fetch quests and, you know.
But. And that's one thing, like, the fetch quests in this game aren't too, I guess, like, overpowering. There's not, it's not like in Skyrim or in the Fallout games, or any Bethesda game really, where like you've got your main quest and a couple of really cool side quests and an endless amount of go fetch a quests. Yeah. Some of them amount to good loot, some of them amount to literally nothing worthful. And it's like, why did you add all this like filler into this game? You know, you boast about having this game that's so many hours of gameplay, but really the reason it's so many hours of gameplay is because 99% of the quests are just endless go fetch a quests, and it's like that is not gameplay. That is filler.
Yeah. And honestly, my biggest problem, I have like terrible, and I mean terrible ADD when it comes to playing games. So I jump around all the time. And
I know.
Yeah, I know. RPG, especially like Dragon's Dogma or even Baldur's Gate, I have to like, when I get back in, it's not just like riding a bike usually for me. I don't know, it's because smooth brain or whatever, but I gotta like relearn how to play the game. It's just frustrating as hell. So that's why I usually don't go back to some of those. But
I feel like Dragon's Dogma isn't too hard to get back into.
It's not terrible.
Because the mechanics are somewhat simple. And most Bethesda games, which are like, you know, Bethesda's like the biggest RPG company out there, I think. Most of their games, their mechanics are simple enough. It's fairly easy to jump back in. But
it's hard, like, remembering, like, where you're at in that story that you were put. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You can look at the quest log, I'm sure, but it's like, what the hell was I doing? What am I supposed to be doing? Like, what? Where am I?
Yeah. And with Dragon's Dogma, you got to be careful because, like, a good amount of their quests are timed once you get them.
Yeah.
So if you're jumping back in, you got to make sure and check your quest queue and make sure you don't have anything timed in there. You're going to fail that quest and whatever chain that quest is a part of. So you got to be careful.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, I haven't been playing much different. I mean, I played For Honor with you a little bit. We played a little bit of Battlefield last week, I think.
Well, you played Battlefield. I mostly just died.
I've been jumping around a little bit, but I actually did, and we'll talk about this a little bit later. I did jump back into Starfield, made a new save campaign, whatever you want to call it, and started over. Kind of. Yeah. I know we've done our fair share of bitching about that game, but I think we'll get that a little later. You ever watch the show White Collar?
I don't think so.
I think it was on USA. I'm not really sure. So me and my wife started watching that. It's on Netflix, and that's a really good show. If you ever got into it, it's one of those you don't have to be like super invested. You just like throw it on. Kind of reminds me of like the style of like Psych a little bit. You ever watch Psych?
Yeah, Netflix keeps because you and I used to watch Psych a lot when we were growing up, and Netflix now keeps suggesting it to me, so I might rewatch it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I feel like it's one of those shows that, I don't know, the beginning of it might bore me, and then I might get not interested.
You should try White Collar. My wife's getting into it. She's never seen it, and I've seen it. At least a few seasons. It's very interesting. It's good. It's kind of like a buddy cop show, like typical. But he's like an art thief or whatever, forger and all that, and he gets hooked up with the FBI and is helping them do some shit. There's lots of twists and turns, and that's a good one.
Did you ever watch Suits? That kind of runs in that same vein.
It's very similar. Yeah, we watch Suits. We do like Suits a lot.
I just can't do whenever the main dude and his girlfriend leave the show.
Yeah.
Like I watched a few episodes after that, and I literally I can't get into it. The whole thing that made the show good was this like college dropout stoner dude who's secretly like insanely smart and able to, lawyer circles around people. And without him there, and
he was the premise of the show.
Yeah, so without him there, and that drama of like, oh, is he gonna lose his job again? Is he gonna get arrested? Like, are they gonna find out? Like half of the show's like intrigue is gone.
Yeah.
And plus the dynamic of those two characters was really good in the show. So like
yeah, I agree.
Now it's just a regular law firm that's like gone under because of everything that's happened, and they're just trying to scrape the pieces together. And it's like I don't care about any of this because you guys are just normal people, and that doesn't interest me.
No, I hear you. Alrighty, well, let's get into a couple things. Stormlight. I know you said you're listening to it, so you finished the first book, The Way of Kings. I'm about finished. Taking me long enough here.
I'm actually really interested in specifically where you're at.
So specifically where I'm at, I just finished the chapter where Dalinar and Sadius are talking about kind of joining forces, right?
Oh yeah, so Dalinar already approached all the other high princes, and they basically told him to get bent.
Yes.
And then I forget, like Sadius helped him out, right? And then Dalinar was like, "Look,
well, he didn't really help him. What happened was that they were at this like feast that the king, Gavilar, was throwing, and he was informed by Hoyd or Wit, whatever you want to call him, that Sadius was going to have some kind of revelation at this feast or whatever, and so Dalinar and Adolin basically gathered up some of their troops ready for like some kind of red wedding type shit, and they're getting prepared, right? And so he confronts them. He basically let's hear it out. Where are you at in your investigation with the cut strap and all this bullshit, right? And so he has it out, and Sadius basically defends Dalinar in front of everybody, which is kind of unexpected, and basically tells him that he's, I don't know, kind of up on this. He's put himself up on this pedestal, and kind of insults him in a way, but like tells him like he's not going to betray him type deal, whatever.
That's how their society works. It's like underhanded compliments.
Yeah.
Like, hey, like you're really good at this, which also means you suck.
Yeah. And so
That's how they talk to each other.
He asks him about the basically joining forces with his bridge crews that are fast, but his slower men that are stronger, and then how they're going to split the shards. That Sadius will, if they do get a shard bearer, that Sadius will get the blade, and Dalinar's youngest son will get the shard plate, the armor, right? And then they'll split the gem hearts or gems, whatever the fuck it is. They'll split those like 60-40 or something like that. Mm-hmm. And so then that chapter ends, and then the next chapter is Kaladin chapter, which I also read, which was really good. And it's basically seeing that union through Kaladin and his Bridge 4's eyes. They're teaming up. Kaladin, they basically take some losses. Or they take a loss that Dunny or whatever gets kind of ran he takes a couple arrows actually, and then gets basically ran over by the cavalry, and Kaladin kind of loses his shit and just starts like trying to save everyone he can from like Bridge 8 and so on, and they hightail it out of there, and so that's basically where I'm at right now.
Have you put any thought? So at this point, Kaladin's relationship with Syl has grown a lot. Have you put any thought into how Yasna is able to do what she's doing?
Not really. I mean, I don't really know how she's doing what she's doing. I think I've said my thoughts on her before. I don't know if maybe she has a spren like helping her as well that we just haven't met yet, or if that's coming, or if I don't really know.
I forget things so quickly. Has Kaladin manifested powers yet? I mean,
so he's healing. He took an
so
arrow.
Kaladin's acknowledged that he's manifesting powers.
Well, that like one of those buddies of his, I can't remember his name. There's one of the older guys that's in the group that like sees what's happening.
It's Zigzo. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think so. And he's like all in awe of him, kind of like investigating what's happening and telling him like some things are happening, and Kaladin's kind of like ignoring it. But he did during that battle where they lost that Dunny. He took an arrow like crossed his forehead and got cut or whatever, and they got back, and he went to like check his wounds, and he didn't have a wound anymore. And all the Stormlight, all the gems are still missing, whatever. So it's kind of easy to put that together. That he's unknowingly, I think, absorbing that Stormlight out of the spheres and then using them to heal himself. So far. So, but that's where I'm at right now. I'm going to read some more today. I only got I'm on page like 700 something. So I think there's only like 1,000. Yeah, it is a big book. There's 1,000 pages in this book, so I'm getting close to the end. So I'm excited to finish that up.
I just want to hear like your theories on things going on. That's why I asked you questions. Also, by the way, once you figure out who messed with the strap on the king's saddle, it's gonna blow your mind, and it's gonna change your opinion on it. Well, not change. It's going to reinforce an opinion that you have on a character.
My bet is it's Sadius or whatever. That's my bet. I don't know why. I think that he had something to do with it.
I wouldn't put money on that bet if I were
you.
Nah.
I don't know. I don't know who it is.
And you already know from the conversations and like the goings on between. You already know that Sadius and Dalinar both want to protect the king.
True, yeah.
So Sadius wouldn't go out of his way to try.
Well, that's if you trust that that's what
king.
he's saying. Yeah, I mean, if you trust that that's what he's saying.
I will tell you that Sadius is genuine in that he wants to protect the king. He said it. Dalinar has referenced it. Dalinar's even said like that him and Sadius before were friends.
Yeah, that's true. I do remember that.
Because they want the same things.
Yeah.
But Dalinar is a man of honor, whereas Sadius is a man that thinks the ends justify the means.
It'd be crazy if it ends up being like...
They both want the same things.
If it ends up being like Adolin or something like that, it's going to be nuts. So, like, I don't know who...
No,
I couldn't tell you who it is off the top of my head. Is it somebody that like we've met or I've met at this point?
100%. 100% you know exactly who it is. But Adolin also... did you get to the part yet where one of Sadius's men is trying to beat a prostitute?
Yeah.
Okay, so you already know that Adolin is... Yeah, you already know that Adolin's an honorable person, so it can't be him.
No, yeah. The younger brother?
No, although... Once you know how his younger brother has like his fits, they reference it a couple of times.
Yeah, well, because he just did that again. They basically tied Dalinar down to a chair because there was one of the storms coming, and he had another vision.
Yeah.
of the Knights Radiant. It was like the night they all
or
like
not
laid.
Adeline doesn't have fits. Renarin, that's the other.
Renarin,
Yeah.
whatever.
So,
Yeah,
so
and
you know
they-
how Renarin has his fits. Once you
Yep.
realize why Renarin has his fits, your mind's gonna be blown. And there's no indicators with. I mean, so like with some of these characters, like with the saddle being cut, if you like really pay attention to what's going on and the personalities of the individual members, you can probably put that together. You already have all of the information that you need to understand how not Shallan,
Yasna.
what's her name? Yasna is doing what she's doing. You have the puzzle pieces, you just haven't put them together. There's so many things that you have all the information together to know what's going on, but you don't even realize what puzzle you're trying to build, which is like the beauty of how Brandon Sanderson writes is he gives you all the information that you need to know what's happening, but he gives it in such a way that you don't even realize what puzzle you're trying to build.
Yeah.
But when it comes to Renarin, there is like no indicators to let you other than you could probably get a vague idea of what's going on with him, but once you actually realize what's really happening with him, which I don't think you're going to figure that out until like book 3 or maybe even 4, it throws everything through a loop, because it also, the book gives you all the books give you all this information on telling you what is right and what is wrong and like what are facts, and then once you realize what's going on with him, you realize nothing that you believe is factual matters. Like, it doesn't matter. It throws everything on its head. The end, like the lines between good guys and bad guys, and like this black and white of like these are the enemies and these are the allies. It flips it all on its head. It's crazy.
Interesting.
It'll blow your fucking mind.
Well, I really like the book. Still definitely into it. Almost end of this book, and as soon as I'm done with this one, I'm gonna start the second one. So.
Yeah. Did you? I think you said you already bought the second one, right?
I bought everything up through. God, I'm gonna forget the name of it, but I have books 1, 2, and 3, and then I have the in between 2 and 3.
Okay.
So there's like, it's books. You have like book 1, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, and that's what I have. I think
those in between books. I don't remember.
They're pretty small, the in between ones. So
They are, but I think you want to read 1, 2, and 3 first, and then read the in between books, because the way that they were written, and also due to the order that they were written in, the in between books sort of give too much away, or reference things that either won't make sense because you haven't read all the way through, or will, like I said, give something away. I don't remember. I would look up
like a reading order,
a recommended reading order.
Yeah, I will. It's a good series. I can't recommend it enough. All right, couple things, some games that I wanted to talk about. First thing is there's been some trailers and some release dates mentioned for this XDefiant. I don't know if you remember XDefiant. It was announced a while ago. They had a closed beta, and it's basically going to be... It's been advertised as a rival to Call of Duty. And the first time I heard about it, I thought it was going to be a very poor concept. Didn't really think much of it. But I did watch that new... Like, it wasn't really a trailer, but it was like kind of interview with one of the producers. It must have been a producer, creator, whatever you want to call it. Talking about the game and the kind of mechanics they're trying to involve in the game. And there was some like gameplay that they showed. And honestly, I'm kind of coming around to the idea. If nobody knows what it is, or if you haven't heard of it, basically XDefiant is Ubisoft's 6v6 FPS. Right, is the simplest version. What they're doing is they're taking characters from around their different games, their Ubisoft universe, I guess what they're trying to create. Like think Tom Clancy's games like The Division, and you have Rainbow Six and Ghost Recon and Assassins, and I don't know, there's a bunch of Far Cry. There's a bunch of different Ubisoft games, and they're putting these characters kind of like a Rainbow Six Siege in a way, where you have these different heroes or characters, and you're doing a 6v6 first-person shooter match style, like a Call of Duty multiplayer. And they have different kind of like abilities and different play styles, and I guess similar to kind of what you're playing, that For Honor, just, you know, a shooter. You know, there's different characters, right?
So, I think I've been living under a rock because I didn't hear about this until I hit you up the other day to ask if we were going to record, and you're like, "Yeah, watch like these 3 videos."
Yeah.
So I watched the XDefiant trailer and like 1 or 2 other videos of people covering XDefiant. Honestly, I think that this is the game. Like, this game is the direction that Call of Duty should have taken.
I agree. Yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah. What it really looks like to me is it looks like Call of Duty with like a splash of For Honor, like you said, because you have like these sort of hero characters, but it also looks like there's some hints, and which is good because that's all it needs, of the finals. If you remember when we were playing that together,
Yeah.
it's got this little like, I mean, you're not playing this straight up military sim. It's got some abilities. It's not over the top like the finals is, but it's got like these character classes that sort of are similar, and it's got that essence of For Honor, of these like heroes that you're playing as.
Yeah.
I when I saw that video, I immediately went onto the Xbox game store to like pre-order it, and it's not on there at all. Which then I was like, well, shit, did Jake just send me a teaser trailer to a video or to a game that I can't even play? And then so I looked up its Wikipedia page. It's like, no, it's coming out on Xbox, and actually it's coming out in like just a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's supposed to be this summer. They're dropping, I think it's later this month, they're going to do another open beta with the bug fixes and things like that they had from the closed beta. Once it's only like a 3-day open beta, and then I can't remember what the release date is. Did they show a release date?
I thought the release date was like later this month.
It might be.
The guy that I watched said that he covered it like weeks ago or months ago and hasn't heard anything of it since. I could be wrong, so, you know, sue me. But it seems like it's either going to be out later this month or in like a month or 2, which is kind of a really big time frame when it comes to video game releases.
What I read, it would make sense that the later this month, I believe it's like the 23rd through the 25th was going to, I think that's what the dates were. I should have written it down. But I think that's what the open beta was going to be, and then it usually takes like another month or so to open up the game.
Well, because they're trying to avoid the issue that a lot of modern games are coming out with, where everyone gets in and crashes the servers. So a couple weeks ago, they did a release, and it was a server stress release to see like how their servers worked with everyone trying to get on at once, which is smart. I don't think anyone's done something like that before, where they intentionally release a game as much as possible to see if the servers can handle it. So, I mean, I don't know. If it does an open beta in a couple of weeks, that'd be dope, because open beta means that we can at least play it for a day or 2. Yeah. And if they're releasing it in a couple of weeks, that's also cool, because from everything that I've seen, I'm actually really excited for a game like this.
Yeah.
I was obviously in high school. I was super into the Call of Duty games, especially like my
what
senior
Call of
year,
Duty used to be,
right?
Year. Yeah, like when Modern Warfare came out.
The modern Call of Duty crap is garbage. It's just rehashed bullshit.
I agree.
And it even said some of the developers are like former veteran Call of Duty developers and Call of Duty bros that wanted to jump on this team. So it's going to have that same spirit of the old school Call of Duty with some of that new school spin put onto it. I'm so excited for it.
I'm pretty pumped for it too,
an
man.
FPS that I can get in on.
Yeah, I think we definitely get in on this, and day one just jump in and try to make the most of it, because we haven't had that opportunity in a while for an FPS like this, because it's just been Call of Duty, really.
And Call of Duty is garbage.
And honestly, I think Call of Duty needs to be worried, to be honest. I don't know that Warzone is going to be affected much. I mean, people who play the Battle Royale Warzone are probably not going to go anywhere. But their actual online multiplayer, their team versus team, whatever it is, the PvP, I think they need to be seriously worried about this. I would never think I'd be in a position to say like, hey, Call of Duty has anything to worry about. But if this studio plays their cards right, doesn't overdo all the extra bullshit you have to pay for, like the battle passes and whatever, which they may have something like that, because that's just what people do now. But as long as they don't overdo it and they play their cards right, they have a lot of community support. They support the game. If there's bugs and things, they need to fix it as soon as they can. If they play their cards right, this could be a serious problem for Call of Duty.
And I also saw that they're doing away with progression-based matchmaking. Which,
really,
I mean, that's a double-edged sword, but I think that's really cool. Yeah. So with these like Call of Duty games and Battlefield and everything else, like you sort of get matched with everyone that is roughly at your play level, but there is an algorithm that they make so that they are planning on you to lose a certain percentage of matches and win a certain percentage of matches. That way, it keeps you engaged without you getting bored.
Yeah.
How it seems like they want to do their matchmaking is like it's going to be random. Your enemies can be like a couple of really experienced dudes and some noobs, or all experienced dudes, and your team is the same way, where it's just a mix of all of these people just sort of all playing at the same time, which is that's like how Halo used to do it. There was no you're level 50 something, so you're only going to be playing with people that are level 50 something. No, when I don't know if you remember back in the day, Halo, when you played online, you better have your shit squared away, because you might be playing against some noobs, but guarantee there's one or two dudes on another team that are they're good. They've been playing for a while. So it's going to be the same way, where you're not going to know what to expect on the enemy team, because it's going to be a mix of everything, which I think is cool. I think it adds something unique rather than some algorithm designed to keep you engaged. No, I just want to play against everybody with my homies.
Yeah, I agree. Regardless, I think we jump into it. I'm excited for it. It looks good. I was not impressed when they first announced it a while ago, but the more they release about it, I'm pumped, man. I think we get into it and maybe do even a little site review for it. Maybe we'll play it for a couple days and do our own little review of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that might be something fun we could try. The other game thing I wanted to talk about was Starfield. Right, so I think anybody who's listened to any of our other episodes knows we've hated on Starfield quite a bit, and for good reason, I think. They had an update that is coming. They're talking about adding ground vehicles. I don't know if any of that has actually been 100% confirmed. I just know that's what's been talked about. So I was going through, and this is just my personal experience with Starfield. Where I was when the Fallout show came out, I got back into Fallout, played that for a little bit, kind of lost interest pretty quick. We played a couple other RPGs, Dragon's Dogma, whatever. I was like, man, I'm feeling an RPG that's more like my speed or whatever. So I downloaded Starfield again and jumped back into it, and goddamn, it's a fun game. I hate even saying that, because I hated on it so much because it pissed me off, because I do think we were kind of lied to in a way about what it was going to be. But goddamn, it's a fun fucking game. It is. It's a good game. There's stuff in it that I wish wasn't in it. There's still some buggy things and whatever, but I don't know if I'm a hypocrite for saying this or whatever, but it's just a good, solid game.
Listen here, Linda. Starfield is, how do I say this? A dumpster fire of what it could be, what it should be.
I agree.
But like you, I enjoyed playing it. The mechanic of building your own ship is super broken. They did not do a good job with that. But I still enjoy figuring out how to build a customized ship. It's a cool aspect of the game that they should have done better with. The mechanic of building your own outposts is broken. The only time I've ever built an outpost in Starfield was so that I could have a shipyard where I wasn't restricted to who I was buying parts from. So anyone that hasn't played the game, there are different factions, and depending on where you go to buy parts for your ships, they provide certain things. But if you build an outpost and you buy ship parts from that outpost, you can get any ship parts from any faction, which it's good for building a ship. There is literally, in my opinion, no other benefit to having your own outpost. I know you can store materials and stuff at your outpost so it doesn't bog down your inventory. But at the end of the day, I pretty much have everything that I need on me. And if I do need something, I can sell some stuff to make room and buy the stuff that I need, and it's not too big of a deal. The storyline itself is interesting and unique. It's really cool. The gameplay, although buggy, like Jake said, is interesting. The different guns and types of armor and stuff is pretty.
But honestly,
pretty
we've talked about this before and gone on and on about it, and there's good and bad or whatever. But honestly, the way I'm playing through it right now is just I'm not playing the shit that I don't like. I know that there's some storylines that I thought were bad or just monotonous. I didn't want to play, so I'm just not doing it. The ship building, whatever, I'm going to get, that Manus ship you can get pretty early on is a pretty good ship. I'm just going to go get that and not even worry about building ships and shit. I'm just going to play the storyline and just do what I want to do, what I thought was entertaining, and not going into it being, trying to do everything. And I don't know, I'm just going to try to have fun with it and play what I want to play and not do the shit that, I just don't want to play or I thought was, bad or whatever.
So one thing that I didn't know going into the game is that when you pick up a specific weapon, especially the higher tier weapons, it's randomized as to how good its stats are. So you can have a legendary weapon and roll low on its stats, and then have other weapons that aren't legendary be better. So when you do the Mantis quest, because that was the first quest I did, I cheated and I looked up some early game things that you can get to help boost your whatever. And the first thing that I did was find the Mantis quest line and follow that. You get a set of armor and you get the Mantis ship. And the Mantis ship lasted me about halfway through the game before I started getting bored with it and wanting to find other stuff, although there are some really cool perks with having the Mantis ship. But the Mantis armor, I realized that I got some ungodly rolls on that, because that armor was the best thing that I could possibly get until the last quarter of the game. That last quarter of the game, I started finding some armor that was better. But talking to my little brother, when he got the Mantis armor, it did not last him very long at all before he started finding better stuff. When I got that Mantis armor, it was just, I literally, there was no other armor I could find that was better. I tried. I looked in stores. I went off killing I did all these quests and went off killing all these people, and I searched for better gear than the Mantis armor, and I couldn't find anything until I started getting to the end of the game. So I don't know if because I played this game on the Xbox One. So now that I have the Series X, I don't know if that data is going to transfer over.
Should.
If it does, it'll be cool because
Yeah, should.
I had beat the main campaign and I jumped through the Singularity or whatever it's called, and then didn't play any further than that. So I didn't even get to like the mining facility. But with this conversation, I might try to get back into it. Although I probably need to buy an external hard drive because with your game ADD, there's too many games. This is too much, and there are too many games that I don't want to delete because I want to keep playing them, and the Xbox Series X just does not have enough memory for all the crap that you're like, oh,
I might have to get.
We're gonna play this today. I'm like, oh, motherfucker.
Yeah, I know. I'm terrible with it. I just can't play the same thing all the time. I got to keep jumping around, or I just get bored, and I don't know.
So I do that with some games, but there are other games, and for anyone who doesn't know, I'm ADHD as fuck. So I will hyperfixate on a certain game and play that until my brain is numb, and then I have to move on. And there hasn't been. I think the last game that I got like that with was Starfield, and now it's just sort of been the generic, ADD of hopping from one thing to another. I guess for Honor, I kind of hyperfixated on a little bit, just because like the concept of the game.
It's pretty cool.
Was something that I didn't think I would enjoy, but I enjoy it so much, and I found success in that game. There are very few PvP games that I find success in, and I found success in that game. So it's sort of grabbed me. But Starfield got me for a while. Dragon's Dogma also got me for a while. We already talked about that.
Yeah.
But with that update, with vehicles and some new weapons, and I think some new missions and stuff, it might be back.
It'll be interesting to see how that changes the dynamic of the game and what they actually do add. That's why I'm hopeful that they're going to try and add some cool shit and fix some of the things that, like the ground vehicles is a big one. I hope they fix the booster packs. I don't like how those are. The inventory system's okay,
I would prefer more Fallout style, only because I was able to, cheat the inventory system of the Fallout's inventory. I boosted a bunch of stats so that it made it that I could still like run and sprint while being over encumbered. So I kind of broke the game. I had so much crap in my inventory that it would crash the game. Because there are skills where you can still like run and sprint while being over encumbered, and once you get to that point, like whether you're over encumbered by a pound or 100,000 pounds in my case, it didn't matter because you could still move almost normally. And I got used to not sprinting and only running, and then walking once my stamina went out, and I would just have literally everything I needed on my back, hundreds of thousands of pounds of crafting materials and weapons and armors and whatever. Like I just had everything you could have on my back. But it got to the point, and this was on the Xbox One, but it got to the point where my system couldn't handle everything that I had and would just like glitch out or crash or whatever. It was crazy. I would love that kind of inventory system.
Yeah, no kidding.
But I also don't want to crash the game, I guess.
We've gone pretty long so far. I got one more thing, and we talked a little bit about a couple of these real quick. Some shows that are coming out. One that actually came out yesterday. So, the Tales of the Empire dropped yesterday. I don't know if you knew that.
Did it?
Yeah. I have not.
There was another Star Wars show that I thought was dropping this coming Wednesday, but
yeah.
Because I just finished Bad Batch, which was phenomenal.
Yeah, was that pretty good? Yeah, I've heard it was pretty good.
You didn't watch that?
No.
Yeah, you suck.
No, I know. But the Tales of the Empire, I think we talked about that maybe the last episode we did, but that actually released yesterday. So I'm interested to see. The only reason I bring it up is I think we should try to watch some of it and give some of our thoughts maybe next episode. But
yeah, I'm gonna definitely probably watch if it did it really already drop. Have you seen the first episode?
No, I've just seen reviews and shit like on IGN, other people posting reviews of it on YouTube, whatever.
Well, if we're not gaming after this, then I'm watching that. So
okay. So that's cool. Look forward to that. The Acolyte. They dropped a new trailer for The Acolyte, which I told you to watch. You watched it, right? It looks really awesome. I think they showed that the Sith guy there at the end with like that almost like a creepy ass like smile like helmet looking thing. I don't even know what that was. That was creepy as hell. What are your
mask almost?
Yeah, kind of weird. What are your thoughts on the Acolyte trailer, the new one they just dropped?
So I know, and we talked about this in the last video a little bit. I think that character whose name I couldn't name, it's Plo Koon. And I only got to say that because I didn't like being wrong or not remembering his name. There's the potentiality that there's a young Plo Koon or someone of that same species in this film or show. I'm excited for it, but I'm going to preface that with it is going to ruin the continuity. So far from what I've seen, I can't see a way for them to make statements made in the prequel trilogy accurate. So in the prequel trilogy, I don't remember if it was episode 1 or 2, they're like, it can't be Sith because Sith haven't been heard of for 1,000 years. But in this last trailer, they're like, Jedi are being assassinated. And then they show the dude with the Vader-esque sort of armor with a red lightsaber, like clearly that's a Sith. So, I don't know. We'll see what they do with it. I hate to say it, and Dave Filoni's been doing a really good job, but I'm getting a little burned out on all of this like buckshot Star Wars content that's just being thrown at us. I want to see some more grounded stuff. I want to see some more, down-to-earth Star Wars material that makes sense with, what we know about that universe. I think The Mandalorian and The Bad Batch, they're kind of stretching it a little bit, right? Like even the Ahsoka series, I mean, you got all these people that are around the time of the rebellion, and you don't ever see them in the original trilogy. But obviously, you see, if you watch the season finale of Bad Batch, Omega goes off to fight for the rebellion. But like, you never see someone like her ever in the original trilogy. But if she's going off to not fight the rebellion, to fight for the rebellion, she is a force sensitive, highly trained, and very skilled individual. So to have someone like that fighting in the rebellion, that's a huge plot point.
Star Wars as a whole, from the beginning, was poorly planned. You know what I mean? Like, it was very poorly planned. Just, they came, just with the first 3 movies, right? They came out with those 3 because they didn't have the funding or whatever for the actual first 3 that he wanted to do, episode 1 and 2 and 3, or whatever the case was.
Well, yes and no. There is some debate and some theories behind what went on with that. The prevailing theory is that George Lucas had an idea of a series of space science fiction movies that he wanted to make, And when he went to, I forget whoever it was, and said, hey, I want to make these movies, they're like, this isn't popular right now, so pick whichever one's going to make the best movie and write a full script. And that ended up being episode 4. Episode 3, which was directed by, I don't remember who, had a slight deterrence from what George Lucas's vision was, but was for the most part on point. So that part wasn't, I don't want to say it was fully unplanned or poorly executed. Honestly, I think it was executed fine. 4 through 6 was great. Episodes 1 through 3, for what they were also pretty awesome. Personally, my favorite movie is episode 3, when Anakin, falls and all that stuff happens. The problem was in the sequel trilogy, where there literally was no direction. And they changed directions multiple times throughout those movies.
Yeah.
We could probably do a whole episode on that, and I don't want to hyper fixate or focus on Disney's failings with that.
We'd be here for a while.
And honestly, it wasn't really Disney's failings. I've said her name a couple of times. I can't think of it right now, but that bitch Carol Baskins. It's her fault.
Yeah, I don't know. They could have done a better job with the continuity and between the animated series, and if they're going to make it all canon, they need to make it make sense. And it kind of seems like they're more or less shooting from the hip with a lot of the series, and just
Disney, everything that they're doing is canonically in sync with the sequel trilogy, which is cool and all. Not really, but is cool and all with that. But they're not focusing on the first 2 trilogies, which is what the fan base cares about. Like, some people like the sequel trilogy, some people don't. I'm still on the fence because I thought episode 7 was good. I thought it was okay. And then I just didn't like how they stumbled through the rest of it. But Disney is sort of doubling down on keeping our first trilogy afloat when they really just Kathleen Kennedy, that's the name I couldn't remember. I hate her. But they're really not. They need to focus on being canonically accurate with the first 2 trilogies.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I agree. There's only so much you can do for movies that are, over 20 years, 30 years old at this point, or whatever the hell it is. I mean,
yeah, but that so much is a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, you're right. It'll be interesting to see what they do.
I feel like the Kenobi series was pretty good.
I liked it.
And it made you understand why Obi-Wan was being such a hermit in episode 4. So that worked. The Clone Wars as a whole, even before Disney took over, was a really good series. They were even able to retcon Rex as being one of the people that was in episode 6, which was dope. There was a lot of stuff going on there. I mean, there are some things that happened that didn't 100% mesh canonically, but that's okay. Small, non-canonical alignments are okay, but it's getting to the point where there's so much stuff that they could explore outside of that main Skywalker sort of line.
Yeah.
That would be really interesting stories and still fit into the Star Wars meta. But instead, they're trying to create all of this fantastical stuff. And that's really all it is fantastical stuff. It doesn't make sense. So, I mean, I think we've sort of sidetracked from the point. The Acolyte looks really good. It looks like it'll be a very entertaining series. I'm definitely going to give it a chance. I just worry that it's going to stray too far from what most fans are looking for when it comes to Star Wars content. And I think that is a symptom of the disease that Disney is inserting into what people want out of Star Wars.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I hope you're wrong. You know what I mean? Just for the sake of watching it.
It's going to be a
probably
good
right.
show. I guarantee the Acolyte is going to be really fun and entertaining.
Yeah.
I just think it's going to be still more part of the ongoing cancer, which sucks.
Well, that's bright and chipper. Alright, last one I got is The Boys, Season 4. Trailer just came out. Watch that. Hilarious. I cannot wait to watch this. Looks even like, and I didn't even know this was going to be possible for them, but it looks even more brutal and gruesome and fucked up than the last 3 seasons.
So, like I said earlier in this episode, my smooth brain, recently figured out how to get my Amazon to work on my Xbox. So on my Amazon Prime Video account, it says there's 4 seasons. So I watched the first 3 seasons, and then it just didn't have another episode to watch, and I was losing my mind.
Yeah, we did the same
upset.
thing. Yeah,
dude. When I saw the preview for season 4, oh my god, I'm so hyped! Yeah. It looks so good. I can't wait. There are so many character arcs that are, I don't know, like continuing to grow. I can't wait for it, dude. I'm so excited. It looks so good.
Yeah, I'm pretty hyped for that too. Kind of a light week. Not too much, at least newsworthy for what we'd want to talk about, but I'll probably cut down some of that. But anything else you want to add before we sign off here?
No, not really. I think anyone that has been watching us, I appreciate it. I think we have a grand total of 3 consistent viewers, maybe tops, if that. But pretty sure that's just family members. So
yeah, hey, it's fun, right?
It's been fun though.
I enjoy it.
Making more.
Hell yeah, man. Well, I appreciate it. Anybody has any, comments? Again, I say it every week. Every time we record anyway. Got our email at pixelsplotsandparenting, gmail.com, Facebook, YouTube, the whole thing. So I appreciate it, man. It's been fun.
Yeah, good sesh.
For 3 p.m., this is Jake,
Was it?
Shane, and we're out.